Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining. This is Kelly and Ginny on the Self Connection, where we have conversations with a group of ascended masters known as the Multitude of the Greater Good.
The greater good is a group of ascended masters who are healers and teachers and are willing to come and help us learn what we can learn. And this group focuses on the self. So they are anxious to help us learn more about who we are, why we are, when we are. And they have access to information from the day of creation to the present, and they base their information on the totality of your experience. When the time, it's like now they're starting to chime in.
Yep.
Do not be concerned. When the time is right, the time is right, and all is love. They're ready.
So quickly, you jump into that channel. I love it. So, Ginny and I always chat for quite a while before we hit record. And today we started chatting, and I said, "Wait, I feel like this is supposed to be recorded and this is gonna be part of the episode today." So I think we started talking about it because last time we were scheduled to meet, I had to cancel because I had a headache.
Right.
And I get headaches a lot, and I'm trying to figure out what they are caused by. Because I've been on a whole journey with that. But so Ginny, at the time, kind of tuned in. And do you want to share, Ginny? And then we'll just kind of let the conversation unfold.
So I will usually, kind of check in and on the spiritual level or whatever level I can connect with someone. And I was checking in with Kelly, and I could see like a bright light because she is a bright light. I could see the like aura around her body, and it stopped right at her neckline. So I was sending energy, healing energy, and it didn't change. It was still the same. It was just the light stopped at the base of her neck. So, okay. So, because she was having headaches. So I figured, okay, that's what that is. Checked in a couple of days later, and I looked again, and the same thing. The light was there shining up until the base of her neck. So I don't know what that was about. Sent more healing, and so we'll go from there.
Yeah, so I thought like our conversations are always so interesting, and I thought I'd allow myself to be a bit of a guinea pig for the benefit of our audience, um, to kind of witness us in these discussions, because always what comes out of it is like a deeper understanding of, I was going to use the word, Ginny, of our suffering. Ginny just said to me offline, stop using that word.
And she
Uh,
used an awful lot.
I do use it an awful lot because that's what it feels like. It feels like suffering. So, and I want to understand my suffering, which is probably why there's no light up here because it's like I'm trying to use my will instead of maybe God's will to figure things out. And it's funny because you said it was a white golden light.
Yeah.
And often my prayer, like if I am gonna, before I work on a client or before I work on myself or before I tune into any energy, I just do have this little ritual to myself that was taught to me by another medium. And the prayer says, Father, Mother, God, thank you for surrounding me with the bright white golden light. So that's so validating for to hear that you saw the bright white golden light. And that's what I ask for.
Yeah.
Um,
Whenever I see light around you or other people, it's always that color.
oh, good. Well, that's interesting too, because
Or if I go in the records and I see the light coming out of the book, it's that color.
right, right.
How I see the energy.
I love that. Okay, wait, hang on. So now you're giving me more topics. So let's talk about this just for, again, I'm going to allow myself to be the guinea pig and be vulnerable for the benefit of the group to learn from this kind of discussion. Okay, so the light cut off at my head.
Well, cut off at your neck, base of your shoulders.
And that's where the pain begins. Like, well, in the past, it would start, I'd call it my chicky wings, around my chicky wings, and it would move up and I'd feel it in the occipital area, and then I'd feel it in my jaw and then in my sinuses. And I have been going for massage to because my naturopath pointed out that I have trigger points in my back and my neck. So I've been working the kinks out of the trigger points. And as I'm doing that, I realize now my headaches are very focused in the sinuses, which is why I'm in this room and not my office, because I brought in all this mugwort yesterday because I love putting mugwort in my rafters, and I couldn't even sit in the room because I started getting pain. Okay. So anyway, I guess maybe I would love the multitude's input. Um, Obviously, we're talking about me, but um, so I'd like a better understanding, but I want to keep the focus as the benefit for the group, that they get something out of the message for me. Why would someone's light be cut off like that? Why would that not surround me? What's the indication of being for that?
It is important to understand that when each one comes to the earth plane, they choose how it is that they wish to expand themselves. They choose how it is that they wish to heal themselves, and they choose how it is to proceed once on the earth plane. In our estimation, there are those who are open to the energy throughout, and there are those who are open to the energy to a place of where the healing needs to take place. When one focuses on the whole body or perspective of a person, the energy is able to flow. When one focuses on that part of self that is contained, one cannot allow the energy to flow. Therefore, we would highly recommend that you begin to focus on not only what hurts or when, but allow yourself to understand that you are a full, complete being with energy flowing up and down and in and out and around, rather than just in a certain part of your body. When it is that you have a headache or an indication of such pain, we would highly recommend that you allow yourself to open to the energy to heal it. When it is that you believe that there are only earth remedies for earth instances, indignations of being is what they're saying. When you believe there is only an earth remedy for an earth problem, you are most mistaken. When one allows oneself to understand that there are energetic healings and availabilities in order to heal earth problems, earth issues are healed quite a bit more quickly. We can tell you that when one believes there is only one way, one is sorely mistaken. There is the physical and the energetic. And when one uses both, one allows oneself to be on the earth plane and be connected to oneself in spirit as well. Do not be concerned. When one allows oneself to be, it's just to be. Whether it be on the earth plane or in the physical, and allows oneself to connect with oneself, one is able to heal more easily and more completely. Do not be concerned, all is love. We would also like you to understand that as it is that you move forward in this life of being, and as it is that you allow yourself to experience more experiences, that you understand that pain is only the symptom. Pain is not the problem. In our estimation, there is always an underlying emotion that is needing to be, it's like unsurfaced or surfaced and allowed to come to the forefront, and to allow it to be recognized or acknowledged. Once that acknowledgement takes place, the energetic component of the physical abnormality is no longer required. Therefore, it releases itself. In our estimation, it is quite important for everyone to understand this process, as when one allows the indication of being to understand that it is right, that it is happening, there is a reason it is happening, there is a healing that is taking place, and it can be what I can't think of the word, but it's done faster, you know, made to happen much more quickly when one just acknowledges and allows the energetic component to come in and help the physical component heal itself. In our estimation, it is the quickest and easiest way. There are, however, physical indications that are most helpful too. However, there are those that need to be, it's like work one in conjunction with the other in order for the healing to be, it's like to be permanent. Do not be concerned. When one allows oneself to be who one is, one automatically allows the process. It is a matter of acknowledging that there is a problem, acknowledging that it can be healed both physically and energetically, and to understand that there is an underlying emotional issue, whether it be from this lifetime or another. Do not be concerned. All is love.
Okay, so we're going to keep going with that to let the process unfold, although we'll see. Sometimes they don't reveal everything. They want it to unfold. But I'm going to ask anyway. Okay, so they talked specifically about allowing the energy. They talked about an underlying emotional contributing factor, something that needs to be acknowledged. And they talked about there are physical things in this world that can help.
Right.
So, that being said, what was the first thing I just said? Okay, I feel like I have in the past with my headache asked and intended to open up to receive the healing, and I don't feel it. It doesn't happen. So perhaps on some level I'm disallowing. I would love to know with the emotional that I'm ready to acknowledge the emotional root, whether it's from this lifetime or another lifetime. I would love to know what that emotion is and if it's from this lifetime or another or both.
It
And I
is
would love, no, go ahead.
important to understand it does not matter what it is. It just matters that you feel the feeling around it. If you feel the fear, you feel the anger, you feel the upset. When it is that you acknowledge in such a way, you allow it to disperse itself, disseminate itself. You allow it to move itself forward. It does not matter the cause. It does not matter the reason. It just matters that when you acknowledge the feeling, you allow the feeling to heal.
That's, yeah, I think I definitely can trip myself up there because when I'm in pain and suffering, there's a set of feelings that come with that. But I think it's probably there's other feelings that got me there. And then I go to my head to say, why is this happening? What's the emotion? Instead of actually just feeling it. And then oftentimes the suffering
Right.
gets so intense, and my husband will come to comfort me. Oh, and I can just feel that right now, how his caring and concern um helps me to feel something. Because like I'm even crying now just thinking about it, where um his compassion allows me to actually feel something and then cry, and then that releases the pain.
Right.
So it's interesting that, like, again, talking about the sinuses, I think about the sinuses as like holding back tears. I think about how today with the mugwort and the allergies, like I feel like there's a lot going on with my sinuses, but um I don't know what the feelings are, and I think that's the problem is I try to understand my feelings so that I don't have to feel them. But sometimes my process seems to work where I understand it, and then because I can understand it, rationalize it, it makes me feel safe enough to then feel it.
Mhm. Yeah, I think that because the actual release comes in the feeling of it.
Yeah.
Like I know for me when I got like I was saying earlier to Kelly, I had this woke up today with this great big overall pain in my whole chest area. And on the earth plane, you think, oh, is it this? Is it that? And then the fear sets in because I
Yeah.
don't know what it is. I don't know how to handle it. And it's like, so I knew from my experience that it was healing happening, but what I had to do was feel the feeling and bring in that healing energy. For me, I bring in higher realms energy, I bring in Shambhala, I bring in Reiki. But when you're in that painful place, it's hard to even think about bringing in anything. So I needed to focus on bringing in higher realms healing to help me with that. But I also knew that that wasn't a physical issue. It was something healing on whatever level needed to be done. And I have no real physical problem with it. Now I feel fine. I felt fine when I woke up, 5 minutes later. So, when I got up 5 minutes later. So a lot of it is done on the spiritual level. So, yeah, I guess you have to trust yourself and and allow the energy to flow, which is
Yeah.
what it's also saying.
Yeah, I think that have a hard time doing that in those states of being.
Right, of course.
You
Yeah,
know, it's like you're so wrapped up in the suffering.
yeah, and yeah, whatever pain you're feeling or whatever. Yeah. Yeah, it's really hard when you're in a physical state of discomfort to allow yourself to think of anything other than that physical state of discomfort.
And I think about how I get to this point of I guess it's surrender, but it feels like hopelessness, quite honestly. It feels like, why do I have to suffer this much? Like, I don't want to experience through suffering anymore. I want to experience through joy. And it feels so like helpless. And I'll say that, yeah, I get emotional every time I think about it. When I'm in that state and my husband just wraps his arms around me and has compassion, there's like this surrender that happens that allows the release. So, see, I'm feeling something right now, but maybe I'm just connecting to that energy. I don't know. I would love to be able to do it without the suffering, like to get there quicker. And I'm sure all of us have moments like this where, gosh, Ginny, I didn't know it was going to be an emotional one, but here we are.
Well, when it is, then you're doing healing work. It's
I
appropriate.
know.
It's
It really is cathartic, right?
it's the right thing,
I wish I had some tissues, but
and allowing that energy to flow in.
yeah.
I don't know. I would try to heal it on, well, what pill do I take? What supplement do I need? What this and what that? And it's like, that's not, that's a part of keeping the physical body healthy. But I think that's not the major part of the process. I think the major part of the process is just opening to the energy. And so many of us don't even know that that's what's happening, or how to access it, or as I said, when I'm in that kind of pain, it's really hard to focus on bringing in any energy. But I guess it's the intention of being open and willing that will allow that to happen.
Yeah, it's funny because last night as I was editing some of our other videos, there was one on like plant spirit healing and the idea of like putting the power into an object, right? Like a tincture, for example. Like when I get in this suffering, here I am an herbalist. I have like hundreds and hundreds of herbs in my apothecary, and I'm just like, I feel like I've tried all of them, and that none of them can bring relief is a testament to and I've studied so much, like I've studied formulation and energetics in the body, and I think it's part of my path, quite honestly, to understand suffering on a spiritual level, and that it gets healed on the spiritual plane where here I am, I have all these supplements and all these herbs at my disposal, and that I've yet to find one or a combination to bring about relief, physical relief. And it is very much for me, it's an energetic experience. And I think if we could probably boil it down to something, is like stepping into the allowing of love and compassion. And it makes me think of Jesus. I think we had an episode talking about Jesus where, it's helped me to understand maybe what his healing was all about. Where, because they say he didn't heal everyone, right? But he healed, which I think you and I know at this point, the individual healed themselves by allowing themselves to be in the presence of someone who can be that channel for love and compassion, right? And in that presence, there is this surrender that happens, this opening, this willingness to heal, to allow the energy that they can bring forth to bring about healing. And that's what it feels like my husband does for me in those moments of suffering, is like he can be the channel this to bring that compassion through, and then I just step into the allowing. And in the allowing, it's the feeling. Allow myself to feel and get out of my head, right? That's where the energy's cut off. You saw it.
Right. So what I'm thinking though is he brings you had said earlier, he brings that feeling of safety to you. So then you're free to connect yourself with yourself, and you connect yourself with your feelings. He may, because he is, I believe, a kind, loving person, and he may bring in that energy as well. Whether you call it Reiki, you call it anything, you just bring in that energy. But I think you feel comfortable in that energy and his energy, and you allow yourself to open. Where this just came to me. I don't know if it's for you, for me, I think it just happens, is that we think we need to know how to do it all or heal it all. And that blocks the allowing. We think on the earth plane, we are in charge. However, it's different. It's a different in charge. It's about being open to the energy and being powerful in your knowing your energetic self. But I think we need to open to that, allowing the energy, which I think for me anyway, most of us never even learned how to do. It took many years before I even began to look into it, into energy. And then when I connected with myself, then I was able to bring in what I know about energy. having done it over many, many lifetimes. So
Yeah, that definitely strikes a chord because I do get in that headspace when I'm in that place of not feeling great.
I
But
think it's normal for a physical being on the physical plane.
yeah, but I beat myself up like I should on myself. I should be able to figure this out. I should be able to like have an herb to help myself. I should be able to move the energy, right? Like, holy cow, how egotistical is that? How that's like such spiritual pride to think that, yeah, I'm just feeling like um it's so willful to
So
step out of,
all you need to do is allow yourself to connect with your energetic self.
yeah,
No, no,
and,
yeah,
and God energy, God source,
yeah. And
my
you'll know.
higher power.
And I think my opinion is when we are able to connect with ourselves like that, then we just know. Knowing comes, then we'll know the next step to take. I would say not always, but lots of times I think that happens.
Yeah. Thanks, Jenny.
Feel better now?
I do actually. I really could have busted out crying, but I'm not going to do that on camera. I mean, I could, but for the sake of time. Um, but really, I do notice that when I finally cry, it is such a release. And it is, like you said, it's the emotion. That's like moving that emotional energy up and out. And I think that my headaches often collect here, it's like all of my emotional energy is like, come on, you can do it, let it out. And then it's like, blah.
But I think in time we learn how to do that without all the emotion. We allow ourselves to recognize that there is a problem like that, and without having to actually, you know, create a real emotional issue around it, we can allow ourselves to recognize it and then take the next steps to allow the opening and the energy, and however it all works. I don't know. I just know it happens.
Yeah, and I've seen you in that process. And it's like that. It's so admirable. Like I just see you when you acknowledge something and you look up and you go, no, I can feel it. And then you just open up and then you go, nope, okay, so it's past now. And it's like, oh, that was easy.
Yeah. Well, it's simple, but it's simple. It's just not always easy.
Okay, so that's a good segue to actually something I forgot I wanted to ask today. And I was thinking about this yesterday. Unless the multitude wants to say anything final with regard.
They're saying we like your next topic.
Oh, good. Okay. So I almost feel like I want to read it because I was texting it to my therapist and another friend. Just this thing. I had a client yesterday, and so when I'm with my clients, I feel like I'm extra open. But I've also been like witnessing myself with my clients lately,
Yeah.
where it made me think of you, Ginny, a lot. I'm sorry, I gotta wipe my nose. Hang on. Sorry, everyone. Keeping it real today. Um, so when I work with my clients, obviously my psychic senses are heightened, and I feel like I get messages and I can see the energy, I can understand it better. It's really actually a knowing more than my claircognizance is very strong in those spaces. Um, and it's almost like in those moments I could easily do what people would call like give a reading and tell them about the energy. But I've been witnessing myself lately And I think it's because of the stuff that I'm working on for myself. Um, I've been watching myself almost like see the energy and then not share it because I can almost feel how they would attach to it and attach the story of that energy. And like, let's say I see a past life, and I could easily say, oh, that's just from a past life, let it go. Right. And then, but depending on the client and where they're at, they could glamorize that, like, oh, it's a past life. And, you know, I could almost feel it if I were to say it, the attachment that would come with that and how that attachment might create suffering. And so it made me ponder because what I'm working through is codependency. And we
So,
talked
hold
about
on a second. So I think it's the way you present it to someone. If you choose to do that, you can
that.
just say it's a past life issue and you're healing it. Then they can go on and ask you more, but you don't need to tell them more. You
Yeah,
can
right.
just say, because a lot of our issues are past life issues that we bring in this lifetime in order to allow ourselves to heal them. So, so they're not necessarily the underlying emotion that needs to be healed is from a past life, and we can't really know what that is. We can feel what that is. So it's just, I think, how you present that.
Yeah, and I think more and more these days I'm presenting it like that versus, well, let me tell you the story behind the emotion because it's not helpful. The
No,
story, I feel like can bring forth like so much more attachment. And then you got to heal all that. Anyway, yeah. So thank you for always modeling that for me, by the way, because
no,
it's been really helpful.
no.
Um, but this is kind of what I wrote. If codependency is a measure of attachment, perhaps the degree to which we are psychically aware has a direct correlation with the level of codependency we operate at. Just hear me out, Ginny. I hope this doesn't trigger you. I don't know why suddenly I felt. To be psychic is to read energy. So the level the To be psychic is to read energy, the level of which may be correlated to how well we attach to the energy. To give a reading is to be attached to another's story, to see, feel, hear, know, etc. The energy without giving the reading speaks to our ability to detach from the story. True healing is when we simply remind another or ourselves that they or we are love. To lead ourselves, another, back to the God within is to create a true atmosphere for liberation and healing. And then I wrote, I am the experiment. I'm interested to see if this theory proves true as I release codependency in layers and layers. Okay, so let me like translate that. I don't know if it needs translating. But I think about uh I'm just noticing myself that as I heal my own codependency, yes, I'm still psychically aware, but I feel less compelled to share the details. And so it made me think of you because that's what you do. You keep it simple. Like you are super psychically aware. And you could get all the stories, especially when we do like Akashic Records readings, right? Like, oh, it was 1644 in Scotland and you were a farmer and you know what I mean? Like
It's not important.
it's not important. And so it made me think of you because you don't always go there because you stick with what's important. And I love that because I think that more healing can happen that way. But so as I have for the last year released layers and layers of codependency, I noticed that um, I feel less and less inclined to be in the nitty gritties of the psychic details. You know, I teach that 5 month class and I'm not teaching it right now. I think I shared with you, like, I just don't know if it's right for me right now. Like maybe it's where someone else is at, but to teach it live, it doesn't feel authentic anymore. I know it's still helpful for people out there, but for me to teach it live, I feel like that was a different chapter. And
Right.
then I feel like, oh, is it wrong to teach people to hone their intuition and how to do it the way I was teaching? Does it encourage them to be more codependent or more attached to people's stories? I don't know. I guess what I'm saying is I feel like there might be, and maybe it's just for me, maybe it's for others. Is there some sort of correlation between attachment to people's stories and their details and the level of suffering and the wanting to bring forth healing in the way of giving a reading? Is there somehow like a correlation between how we get psychic details and the level of our codependency?
Personally, I never thought about it before. I have no idea either way. But let's
Yeah,
see.
that's because you're not codependent.
I, I, I had to learn over many years, that I was very codependent. And then I guess what happened when I got divorced, um, I I guess pretty much when I got divorced, I began to open up more to the energy. I definitely opened up more to the energy. And then I went ahead and got divorced and then began to learn more about who I am and what I need in my life and move forward that way. But before that, I'm was a stay-at-home mom. I had, 4 kids to take care of, and I was very busy. But I was also um, dependent financially, dependent emotionally, very dependent on my spouse. So over many years and many experiences, I've learned not to do that. I can't tell you how I've learned. It's just an experiential thing, I think.
Yeah.
But it's growth, it's personal growth. So, can you make a concise question for the multitude?
Well, I mean, maybe I can kind of keep it general because they're listening. Is there something they'd like to share with us on this topic?
It is important to understand, my dear, that each one comes to the earth plane to learn who they are, what they need, and how to be. In our estimation, whether it presents itself as codependency or just the opposite, the egotistical
Like
self,
narcissistic? Yeah.
narcissistic self, or whether it is in any other manner of presentation. It does not matter. What matters is each one came to learn, and they came to learn in a way that was comfortable for them to move forward. In our estimation, whether you are a narcissist, whether you are codependent, or anywhere in between is not the issue. The issue is how one handles oneself, how one learns, how one grows, how one allows oneself to be with, for, and around others. It is important to understand that it is only like the vehicle to get one to where one needs to be. It is not the problem.
I love that because that is such a good general overall statement about the human condition and process
We
of
would
suffering.
We would also like you to understand that as it is that each one moves forward in their own growth processes, each one begins to see themselves and everyone else differently. Therefore, we would highly recommend that you not be so hard on yourself for those things that you believe to be issues. They are only ways that you have given yourself to learn who you are, where you are, what you want, and how to be. Do not be concerned, all is love.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
And I feel that. I feel that to be true. I feel that, and I think to really know and understand what they're saying here, allows us to have compassion for other people on their journey, no matter what their journey looks like. It's like the soul came here to incarnate in order to have an experience. And in that experience, they are growing and expanding as a soul. And what that experience is just a vehicle for which the soul to experience growth. So the experience can look like narcissism, codependency, um, I don't know, and everywhere in between and outside of that. It could look like um, being abusive. It can look like being abused. It can look like being rich, being poor. Like think of all the polarities. They're just, instead of thinking of them as that thing, they're just experiences. And they're the vehicle by which we experience growth. And that's what we've all come here to do, is grow. Now, okay, so that's like the high frequency, the high vibrational. Oh, I just got so ungrounded. The higher vibrational way of explaining and being okay with the all experiences in the world, especially in a, you know, right now what we're all experiencing, what the world is experiencing and witnessing.
Yeah,
Um,
but what came up for me when you said that, though, is that, we need to grow ourselves. And it's not like being okay with everything. It's about feeling that discontentment and wanting to move on and make the change. It's like, it's more than just, it's accepting. It's actually accepting. But whether you choose to stay that way or you choose, it's the contentment or discontentment that helps us move. Make sense to you?
yeah, for sure, because discontentment with the world can bring forth experiences that allow you to grow and move forward.
Yeah,
For
but
some people,
that's yes, yes,
and for other people, the total like especially for codependent people, the total release of I don't need to control this, I don't need to rescue, like that might be their experience of letting go and full surrender. That might be a personal experience in order to experience soul growth.
yeah,
And to know that it can look like either way is to find peace in the world and all of its happenings.
yeah. But what happens too when you talk about peace in the world is that we need to focus on ourselves and not in a really selfish, non-giving way. It's we need to uh, focus on our own growth and understanding and expansion, connection with the energetic world, whether we consciously know we are connecting with the energetic world or not, doesn't really matter. What
Right.
matters is that when we change ourselves, then we change that energetic world. We change the energy of the whole collective, the whole, whatever's happening on the earth. So when we change ourselves, we could contribute to the change in the energy, which will contribute to the change for everyone. So it's like, well, what we can do for the world, what we can do for the world is help ourselves grow and help ourselves expand and allow our loving, caring energy to be incorporated in the collective energy, which changes everything. Because
Yeah.
everybody's connected to that collective energy.
Yeah, we make it up.
So,
We're the drop in the ocean, each of us.
yeah, exactly.
Okay. Well, maybe we can end then on a note of whether it be advice on how to do that, or perhaps the multitude would want to walk us through a meditative exercise to bring that forward in the here and now.
To bring what forward?
Just an experience of connecting to the self to contribute to that.
Expansion of being.
Yeah, that then can help contribute to the collective. Either a message or a guided exercise.
It is important to understand that each one has their own way of connection. However, each one needs to be aware that they are on the earth plane. And when one allows oneself to ground oneself on the earth plane, they are more able to connect themselves with themselves in the energetic. We would like each one to understand that there are many ways of connection. Some choose to use, no, I don't know what's me and what's them. So some choose to use a way of physical interaction in whatever manner one chooses, and some choose to just allow themselves to be and allow the energetic connection. Does not matter how it is completed. What matters is that it is completed. If one chooses meditation, it is important that one allow oneself to experience the experience. If one chooses nature, it is important that one allow oneself to experience the experience. If one chooses like hiking or a long hiking trip, it is important that one allow oneself to experience the experience. It is in the experience that there is the connection. It is not in the process. It is in allowing oneself to experience. And when one can allow oneself to, it's like to feel good about their process, then they are allowing the expansion required. We would like each one to please put your feet flat on the floor. We would like each one to take a breath, 2 breaths, 3 breaths. And by so doing, each one allows oneself to connect with oneself on the earth plane. Allow the expansion of self. Allow the roots from the bottoms of your feet to, it's like the imaginary roots, so to speak, from the bottoms of your feet to grow into the earth, into the physical earth, if that is how it works for you. We would like you to understand that by allowing these roots to grow and expand within the earth physicality, so to speak, each one allows oneself to bring forth the energetic component of the earth energy that is important for each one to experience as they reside on the earth plane. It is important to understand also that in so doing, one allows one to be like what I'm seeing is like a tree, and it's anchored. The word is anchored. One allows oneself to anchor oneself to the earth plane, therefore allowing oneself to move forward in whatever manner one wishes. In our estimation, it is important that one remain anchored on the earth plane in that energetic way. There is much movement, there is much change. However, one is also energetically connected to Earth's energy, therefore moving oneself forward in the best way they know how. It is also important for one to understand that there are many ways of connecting to the energetic part of self. There is that part that knows, that part that understands, that part that moves forward in many different ways. We would highly recommend that you imagine yourself expanding yourself, allowing it's like the roots of the tree into the earth energy, the branches of a tree, your tree, expanding into the source energy, the universal energy of being. And as you allow this energy to connect with you, allowing you basically to connect with that energy, allowing yourself to bring that energy through and into your field of energy, allowing the earth energy to come through and connect in your field of energy. You will allow yourself to be better suited to move yourself forward, as it is that you are grounded in the earth and grounded in the universe. You will allow yourself to move forward in a confident, more expansive way. Do not be concerned. We would highly recommend that each of you take the opportunity to move yourself in such a way. Allow the energy to flow, allow the energy to grow, and allow the energy to move you forward in the best, that's most suited way for you. We would highly recommend that you breathe. Allow yourself to breathe, as it is in the breathing that allows the energy to move. Allow the energy to flow. Allow yourself to breathe. Allow the energy to flow. Allow yourself to breathe. Allow the energy to flow. Allow the energy to breathe. And as you continue to do that, you will allow the energy to expand, and you will allow yourself relief, relaxation, and confidence. Do not be concerned. All is love. In our estimation, it is the only way to be on the earth plane. When one lives in the energetic, one cannot fully experience the earth plane. When one lives totally in earth energy, one is less apt to experience any energetic growth and understanding. We would highly recommend that each of you understand that you are energetic as well as physical, and allowing yourself to connect to the physical and the energetic, you are able to move yourself forward as one wishes. Do not be concerned. All is love.
Thank you. I don't want to leave that that spot.
You're welcome.
Oh,
You can go there whenever you want to, Kelly.
I do, and it's funny because whenever I start a meditation, that's what I envision. I envision my roots going down, connecting to the core, drawing the energy up, and then opening it up like a funnel to the higher realms, and then that energy pouring down. And
Yeah.
so I always do that, but this time, the exchange of energy, usually it's just like a stream. This time it was a ball, like a ball of light that came up from the core, like the core itself came up and moved through, but it was like pushing against me to try to like expand me, and then sending it up. And then the higher realm sent down a ball, and it was like, come on, trying to like push my boundaries out. And then these balls just kept exchanging until finally, yeah, like I could feel myself expand.
Nice.
Yeah, felt really good.
Good. I'm glad. Yeah. So anybody can do this anytime. And then also the one part that you mentioned that was not elaborated in that meditation was that when you are in that universal energy connecting, source energy, whatever energy you wish to call it, that you allow that white light to come through. Bring through white light, whether you see it in a ball, whether you see it in a stream, does not matter. Just bring it through, allowing it to heal and clear as it goes. And that's what I do a lot, is I'll bring it through, and I'll just ask for it to heal and clear as it moves through. And I can see it move into different parts of my body, or it, like it'll come sometimes to the front, or sometimes to the back, or sometimes on each side, leaving that core center. It doesn't always go there, but that's a different story. That's something different again. But I forget where I was going with that. But
Yeah.
you can do it anytime, and that when you have practiced it a little bit, it can take you all of like 10 or 15 seconds to do it. And you can do it as many times as you wish. Bring the light through as many times as you wish, as many times during the day as you wish. I find it useful.
Yeah, and just for those who might be like, well, what do you mean bring it through? Like, you're imagining it. It's that simple. You initiate this process through your imagination, in your mind's eye, picture it happening. And if you're not one for like being able to visualize, all it is like creating the intention. And when you intend it, like, the belief brings forth it's the intention and the trust and belief that it's actually happening that can bring it forth. um there's a great book, Bruce Lipton, The Biology of Belief. that talks about the science of this. Maybe
Yeah.
not this exact exercise, but the theory of it's literally the biology of belief. He studies cells when you shift your belief, your intention, your imagination, what happens in the body on a cellular level. So there's scientific proof of the power of the mind and the imagination and intention.
Yes, imagination is, see, I'm also very visual, so I see it all in my mind's eye.
Yeah,
So
me too.
I've always been that way. So,
I think most artists too, like my dad's a painter and he can see it in his mind's eye before my dad will like discount everything we're talking about. Like, no, that was just but like he's so visual. I remember when he had vertigo and like the little crystals in his ears came out. And there was like nothing they could do to help him. I led him through a visualization. And I was like, imagine you have these little imagine little leprechauns that they're in your ear and they can place the stones. Do you see that? He's like, yeah, there's three of them. Like, okay, well, like you could have came up with any number. I'm like, okay, pretend you're a mason now and put those back in place. And he's like, yeah, yeah, because my dad's handy. So we're. And the next day he was better. So like the biology of belief, how powerful the imagination is at.
yeah. Yeah, but the imagination is also connecting to the energetic. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's important to know too. So,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. Wow, we covered a lot today, Cal.
I know, I know. I don't know how long we've been on for, but I remember last night looking at our old videos being like, that one didn't feel like an hour, but holy cow, that was an hour-long video. So I'm assuming it's been an hour about.
Yeah, yeah, so
Yeah. Well, thanks, Ginny, and thanks to the multitude. That was a great session. Any final comments, Ginny, for you?
no,
Or
just that, I've always happy to help, and the multitude is definitely they've come to help. But also, I think what we need to understand is they've come to help us. But as we grow and as we change and as we learn, we help them. So it's a two-way exchange. It's not just one, it's always two-way. So they're happy to help, and I'm happy to help. So thank you, everyone, for coming and listening to us. And I hope you find these helpful.
yeah, and thanks for showing up because the more I think of as you were saying that, Jenny, the more people who watch and grow through this experience, it's like giving back to the multitude, which is made up of multitudes of multitudes. So
Well,
it's nice that we can bring more to them, I guess.
all right. So, okay, Kelly, thank you so
Great,
much.
Jenny. Thank you. Till next time.
Bye, everyone.
Watching.